Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome. And so, in today's live session, we plan to discuss what exactly happened with Fridays for Future India and other environment protection groups. So, it's called web censorship, and we're trying to decode, understand what happened with the team, what happened to our website. So, putting it out there that Fridays for Future India's website is fridaysforfuture.in, and we're going live on YouTube to explain to people in a really simple manner what and why and how did this happen, followed by which we will give you the latest updates. And in a while, we are going to be joined by the legal team from IFF, Internet Freedom Foundation. Right now, we have 3 volunteers with us from the Fridays for Future India team. I will just take a quick minute to introduce them to you. Mm, First, we have Yuvan, digital action team. He's also a conservationist, and followed by that we have Gangotri Chanda, who is a part of the social media team, and we have Dinesh Nadar, who is a part of the digital arts and illustrations team. So welcome you guys. And Gangotri, before we start, could you explain to the viewers what exactly is Fridays for Future India?
Yeah, Fridays for Future India is mainly a youth leader movement actually it is a grassroots movement mainly inspired by the worldwide movement Fridays for Future. Here in India, we youth also feel the same climate crisis that such as it is the global impact. So here we youth people also decided to come up with some activity to save our future. So it started in the March in last year 2019. Any more? Tarun, is it okay or I tell more?
Yes. Thank you. Yuvan, can I request you to throw some light on the timeline as to what happened and when things happened?
Yeah. Am I audible, Tarun?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So on July 10th, so before that, a little bit of history to this is that we were facilitating public participation for the new draft EIA, which has stirred up a lot of controversy as it being an anti-environment and anti-people draft. And we were spreading awareness about what it's about and how people could participate in sharing their concerns. So we provided a framework for people on our website for them to express their concerns to the concerned authorities. And that is due legal process, nothing out of the way we did there. And in fact, that is part of the draft as well. Right now, we have till August 11th to review and send in our criticism, concerns, and so on. So we were hosting this, and a lot of people were mobilized, and they used a platform to send in to the minister and to the email ID given by the notification to express whatever they had to express about the EIA. On July 10th, our website was blocked. Few days later, we discovered that a notice was sent by the Delhi police to us, dated July 8th, charging us under the UAPA section, under the section which is for conspiracy and spreading of religious hatred, which was baseless, which the legal team will talk about. And after a lot of press pressure yesterday, we were able to construct the timeline ourselves. On July 12th, the police itself agreed that they withdrew the petition, saying, quoting a typographical error, and they charged us on the IT Act of Section 66. And on 16th, they withdrew that again. And on 22nd, we sent a return notice to the police asking them to make a website active again, and that all their allegations did not have legal standing. And Today, our website is running again after a lot of public campaigning and journalist pressure yesterday. That could be the broad timeline.
Thank you so much, Yuvan. I'd like to take a moment to welcome Apar from Internet Freedom Foundation, who's been guiding the way all along, who's been taking care of each and every volunteer from this movement, making us feel comfortable and trying to make us feel less scared about the big words that authorities have used and charged us for. So before we move on, Apar, can I please request you to give a little introduction about Internet Freedom Foundation and what kind of work do you all do?
So we at the Internet Freedom Foundation come from a movement, and that's the first thing we shared with the volunteers at Fridays for Future, which is such a young, active movement through which I've learned so much over these past 2 weeks. Now, now that we are an organization, we essentially look at the intersection of fundamental rights and technology. We have all these devices on our wrists, in our hands, and they gather our data all the time. And they are also a very essential way how we connect with family members, our relatives, friends. So there's a lot of free expression. We use it for campaigning, advocacy, political beliefs, training. Now in times of COVID, even remote learning. So the mobile phone, digital technologies are actually an anchor to our fundamental rights, to our duties as citizens. And the Internet Freedom Foundation plays the role of an advocate on your behalf to essentially realize them. So the smartphone actually is not only in your hand, it's completely under your control.
Okay, thank you. So as our audience rightly knows, Fridays for Future is also a youth movement, and we have all kids below the age of 25. So what I'd like to highlight is we do not understand big legal terms and clauses and whatnot. So may I request you to decode the meaning of UAPA, and could you please throw some light on what has been sent to us by authorities? And yeah, thank you.
Firstly, I'd like to clear the anxieties which may be there with some of the volunteers here, as well as the other people who may be watching this live stream, that environmental campaigning and protection is actually a directive principle of state policy, which is something which the government should do. And in fact, when there was a recent commemoration of the Constitution, in fact, the present House of Parliament actually even recognized that fundamental duties are a very important component of how all of us as active citizens, especially young people, need to participate in the larger sphere and contribute towards national development. And one of the core elements of even the fundamental duties is taking care of the ecology and the climate. So you're actually doing something which is it's far away from being something unlawful, but is something which is promoted by the Constitution. And you have all the rights to do it under fundamental rights, and that's under your fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression, towards assembly. And in times of how we use technology, it's quite often done by how you use online platforms. And I speak about this, a little about the online platforms in petitioning, given that even the Save the Internet movement, which was towards protection of net neutrality, ran a petition, email, in which more than 1 million people participated, which is appreciated by the government, which is appreciated by the Telecom Regulatory Authority in India, which is why ISPs, which are internet service providers like Jio, Airtel, or Idea, cannot basically charge you differently for the kind of websites that you access, for instance. So they can't charge you less because you're accessing, let's say, Amazon versus like Flipkart or the other way around. Okay. So this is what we also did. So it was a very core understanding we came with this because we had done this kind of work. We had ran a large email-based movement in which we provided a template to people and people sent it across. So if you look at the Fridays for Future website, which is active today, but does not have this functionality because we're still assessing risk and we need to hear from legal authorities, as Yuvan just indicated, because the police authorities are just talking to the press. They have not officially responded to our communications as much as the website is unblocked, which shows that There's no illegality because illegal thing can't be permitted to go online. That's a natural inference. You would think about it like that. But the thing is, we still do not have official correspondence, and we really want, as lawyers, to clear this cloud which has gathered during these onset of monsoons. Okay, so that's the first thing I would just like to say, is to take away your fears and anxieties. And when we saw this notice, we could understand there would be a level of anxiety, because the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act is actually an anti-terrorism law, and it's something which will drive a level of anxiety quite naturally in people who may even be lawyers, may be very well acquainted. So please, that was a very natural reaction which came when this notice was actually shared by the domain registrar, Big Rock, with the team for Fridays for Future, who handles the technical website. And I mean team in a very loose sense, essentially a collection of volunteers who have those skills. Now, the notice, if I'll just read out certain parts of it first. Okay, the notice is issued under Section 79(3)(b) of the IT Act. Now, the IT Act is full form is Information Technology Act, and this notice is issued by the police because it wants to take down the content. This provision actually permits either a court or a police authority or a state authority to send such notices, and then an intermediary which kind of hosts this information, which may be Facebook or social media networking platform, or maybe a domain registrar like Big Rock, GoDaddy, etc. It's obligated to act under it. Okay, and this way it can maintain its own legal compliance. And when you look at the brief facts of the case, it says that it's pursuant to a complaint that the Honorable Minister, Cabinet Minister Shri Jadvedkar has been getting multiple emails on his email ID with the subject name similar to EIA 2020. And then it says that there are some unlawful activities on the website which may disturb peace and sovereignty of India. And then it also then goes on to say that the publication and transmission of such objectionable contents is a cognizable and punishable criminal offense under Section 18 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Now, if you look at Section 18, it says punishment for conspiracy. It's also extracted in the notice. This notice, which went viral on social media yesterday, was provided by the domain registrar as I just stated to all of you. And we sent a representation in response to this. And if you just go through that representation, it explains quite clearly why this law is inapplicable, because there's no specificity. Now, when you say something is illegal, you need to intelligently define what is illegal. And sending multiple emails by itself is the only remote element of linkage which is sought to be drawn with the invocation of Section 18, but it just does not fit because there's no conspiracy here. Because if you look at the website and the functionality which it provided, it was essentially an email template and a button through which the email was copied into the clipboard, which is the memory of every person's computer who clicked on that button when visiting that website and opened up an email client like Outlook or like Mail on a Mac, okay, or even Gmail if it's configured in a certain way. And this email draft, essentially, which served as a template, got copied there. They could still make changes. They could choose not to send it. They could also choose to add other addresses or drop them. So the clear choice, in a sense, rested with the end user. And there was no conspiracy because you were not actually knowing the people or forcing that choice onto them. They were educating themselves, coming onto your website and doing it. And also, it's very important to look at the Fridays for Future India as it exists. It's a youth-led movement in which there are people from the age ranges of mostly about, I've been told, about 12 to about 20. And they do a large range of activities, which includes beach cleanups, climate strikes, and also campaigns which actually support the government in a lot of its programs. For instance, I was told you also launched a Vocal for Local campaign towards preservation of the ecology by looking at how local alternatives, which are much more sustainable, are towards state objective. So just because you disagree on a law, which is open for public consultation, you encourage public participation, which is actually recognized by the Constitution. This notice, which was sent citing Section 18, just did not match. And that is essentially the advice we provided, which was the basis of the representation for recall sent by Rajni, who's one of the other volunteers and the owner of this website, operates it. And it led to a public post, a lot of public advocacy, as Yuvan just cited. And thankfully, at least in the press, the Delhi police approached it with a level of sensitivity and has stated that it's withdrawn this notice. Then there was a subsequent notice it's sent under Section 66, but it also withdrew that. There's certain press remarks. There's nothing pending. The website is online. But still, let me end this by saying there's some level of legal risk, because all of what we have is essentially about 2 emails which are referred in a Huffington Post article, and certain press statements which are attributed to the police. Notice which was sent to block the website. There was a fear. Just a second. Is my internet better now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. That was because I was connecting through a VPN. So yeah. But that's more or less about it. Let's get into some specific questions or any other things you would like to know.
What I would like to say is we have people who are viewing this conversation on YouTube. So all those people, all our viewers on YouTube, feel free to ask your question in the chat. We will definitely reply. We've received one question which says, sorry for asking, but I read that you tried to spam Honorable Prakash Javadekar email. Is that true? And is spamming a crime?
Okay. So firstly, spamming by itself is not a clear crime as such. See, here's the thing. There was a provision called Section 66A, which was originally intended to be a provision which would prevent spam emails, but it's a criminal penalty, right? So it was struck down by the Supreme Court in the Shreya single judgment as being unconstitutional because it was too vague. And firstly, if you just look at the facts, and if that link to that representation can be shared, I'll just paste it here itself. So can somebody paste it in the YouTube channel? So I'll run people through that a bit.
Yes, doing it.
So that'll bring specificity. So when you have pasted it, then I'll just come to 2 paras and I'll just explain what happened. Am I approaching this like a class lecture, folks?
No, not at all.
Let me put up my specs, possibly, use it as a prop, so you would take it a little more seriously.
No.
So one of our volunteers, I think, has pasted the link in the chat.
Everyone who's watching the live stream, please click on the link and then scroll down to page number 3. If you scroll down to page number 3, you see at the very top para 4, and it clarifies in the first para the FFF website, when was it launched, what did it do. So firstly, in the first para, in 4A, it's saying that it's in response to an official public consultation by the government itself. So the government is inviting these views. And if you've just been following the news, the Karnataka High Court is in fact saying more people need to participate in this. Prepare local translations, Because ultimately, what's the basis of participatory democracy? It's not only voting, it's actually involving yourself in all these processes. Now, sometimes you may agree with the government. Sometimes you may actually also disagree with it. And if you look at the Shreya single judgment again in 2015, Justice Nariman says that there are three forms of speech broadly. One is expression, that just statement. The second is advocacy. And the third is incitement. So he says essentially, if you're discussing something, and even if you're advocating something which may be causing inconvenience to others, because, you know, if you don't agree with someone and you say some things in a certain way, it doesn't make them illegal. Or if you say them too much, doesn't make them illegal. But you incite an offense, it does. And there's no such clear offense. But again, let's focus on what was the function. The function was more or less participation in the public, in a public consultation, and that public consultation was being done by the Ministry of Environment and Forests. The honorable minister there is Mr. Jadvekar. Jadvekar sir also has a publicly listed ID. Okay, that's in the email template, and the email template is made available on the FFF website. Okay, now if you look at para B now on page 3, okay, which is subpoint B in para 4, like para 4B, it says that the Karnataka High Court has asked to give wide publicity. So the FFF website was giving it wide publicity, asking citizens to participate and submit objections. And if you look at para C, what did the FFF website provided? It provided the content of the draft email and the publicly available email address of the honorable minister. And then what happened when you went there? You access the campaign on the FFF website and would either automatically open the mail client for a person and the contents of the email appearing as a draft. So you still had to go through it, right? You had that level of agency. You could review it. Okay. It was a template and no emails were sent from the FFF website. So what's also important to note is that if you don't have an email ID, the FFF website can't send this.
That's really something everyone should note, because and I would just like to highlight and repeat what you had said previously, that the content that was there in the email could be edited, and is like you can change the person who you're sending it to. So as someone has asked, so have you sent who have you sent these emails to? And if it's not only the EIA objection EIA objection email, is it then wrong to spam someone's inbox?
So here one also needs to understand who the email is going to, right? Now, quite often, if the email is going to a public functionary, okay, such as a person who we are elected to office, it's a publicly known email ID. They've tweeted about it. So Jadvekar sir has also tweeted about this email ID on their Twitter handle and actually asked for views. So if people are sending them views and they agree with each other, is it really wrong for people to participate if they're concerned with the law, which concerns climate change, ecology protection, all those large areas which come through and is a constitutional duty? So just because people have been engaging with it at a really, really high level and there's a substantial amount of interest, it does not mean it's spamming by itself. And spam actually denotes spam. So let's just go into an inbox and click on spam once. What does it have? Does it have anything to do with environment protection, or does it mostly have things to do with you winning $1 million and somebody trying to scam more information out of you, or something else also, something which may be very, very stupid or obnoxious? So I think it fits within the purpose and the domain also of the function of that public functionary who's actually elected by us to office to actually hear these things out. Okay. And with respect to the email capacity, it flooding inboxes, etc., that can quite easily be catered with increase of server capacity. rather than responding in such a manner in which a provision of the UAPA is actually alleged to be caused by it. Okay. And if you also notice that if you go to the Delhi police notice, they nowhere use the word spam. They, in fact, let me read it out again. The above website depicts objectionable contents and unlawful activities or terrorist acts which are dangerous for the peace, tranquility, and sovereignty of the India. The publication and transmission of such objectionable contents is a cognizable and a punishable criminal offense. So it does not state that there's any spam which is being caused. They don't even reason it.
Thank you to answer that question without, I think it's really been insightful and you've cleared a lot of our queries because as in Fridays for Future, we have a lot of working groups and a lot of youth volunteers, and without like we all confused as if have we really done something wrong. So I think this really helps us feel better right now. And keeping that in mind, I'd really like to ask you for your message to all the volunteers of Fridays for Future for Fridays for Future India, and all those who plan to join Fridays for Future India. What's your message to them?
I would say this is a growing youth-led movement. People like me who have not been a part of it or who are a bit older will benefit from it. You're working for everyone, for your generation, for the one which will come after you, and also the people who are right now learning from hearing from you and understanding the sensitivity of climate change, the reality of climate change. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I do not, in my personal opinion, as well as per the legal review we have done of your activities, and I share this with a larger team which comprises of Brinda Bhandari, who's an off counsel at the Internet Freedom Foundation, Abhinav Sekri, who's a practicing criminal lawyer and has volunteered his time on this substantially, and Devdatta Mukhopadhyay, who's an associate counsel at the Internet Freedom Foundation. This team of lawyers which came together will continue advising you till all legal risk goes away, which is essentially the official correspondence of closure. And we'll take steps in your best interests because we feel that what you're doing is not only legal, but also fulfilling a very important constitutional duty and a challenge we are all facing collectively. So please carry on your work with a high degree of motivation and keep teaching people like me the real value of protecting our ecology and environment.
Thank you so much on from behalf of the entire team of Fridays for Future India. We'd like to thank Internet Freedom Foundation and each person from your team who has given time and advised us and helped us come out of this problem. Before you leave, there is a lot of information that is going around WhatsApp groups. And how do we know if it's true, if it's not true? And some of it states that the UAPA is no more applicable. So if you could, before you leave, if you could just tell us what to believe and what not to believe.
So the thing is that while the website is active, there is a high degree of possibility that nothing is pending at the side of the police. But at the same point in time, till you get official confirmation, and we are following those steps, we are advising Rajniji to clear all of this up. Most of the pain is already gone. So if you just think about, let's say, a patient, you are in post-operative care now, and we are taking care of you like that. And the entire team is here to guide you. We are going to volunteer more time, provide our services in a pro bono manner as per your instructions. And as I've just seen how the movement organically works, reach out, ask us queries. We have limited capacity and bandwidth, but we'll try to answer them. And WhatsApp groups are very essential mechanisms how people also talk, share information. There may be opinions others have which do not match your opinions or my opinion, and it's fine for others to have that. But please do focus on the goal of your movement, right? Which is towards protection of the climate and the environment. Focus on that message. You are the experts on that, and we'll come in and we'll try to support you on the law. Now, the UAPA most possibly specifically addressing this, I would agree to a certain degree. It seems that it's no longer active because we know from certain correspondences which are being shared with the press that the police department has clearly stated it. It's great. We really do hope that even in its official correspondence to all of us, it can state the same thing, because it would mean there's no threat of this existing and there's no pending criminal investigation. That's all that is left to this. The website is active again, and we'll keep continuously assessing that risk. See, quick and easy answers of yes or no is something I'm not in a position to give right now, because if you've noticed, things have also moved so fast, right? They've moved in about 48 hours to about 3 days. Okay. And please do sense this momentum. Focus on your campaign by itself and the larger goals. And I know that all of you work in as allies to other movements, other collectives, which are also working on this. And there'll always be a healthy difference of opinion, but there'll be a larger sense of camaraderie and treating each other as an ally. Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all the effort that you have put in to help us out. Fridays for Future India is always grateful. I'd like to ask one of our volunteers a question. So Dinesh is a part of the art and design team. So Dinesh, when you first heard about the UAPA and what did you feel and how did you take this?
So, like as an 18-year-old student, I was shocked to see that by nature, means organizing petitions and mail campaigns are democratic by nature. So, as a student, being labeled as doing something illegal or objectionable was obviously shocking. And the fact I would like to point out is that the government itself had invited us to share our opinions. So it's not like we are organizing a protest and going up against them. And if you ask for a personal opinion, I feel that like this was a move done to induce anxiety amongst movement and concerned citizens.
Okay. Gangotri, can I request you to tell us how has this information affected our work in the team? And yeah.
Yeah, generally, whatever, since long I'm connected with this movement, since then I have noticed that not many, that much, rather say, no response we received due to our movement, whatever we wanted to request the authority for our for any mitigation action to save our future. No response we did receive yet. But this response was a bit shocking, but due to this response, we realized that we are in a position to get response. So we have to make people more aware, and we have to urge for our for some mitigation action to save our future. In more, we are getting more inspiration through this response, so that we can request our authority to for more mitigation action to save our future. We are
Thank you,
inspired.
Gangotri.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, guys, we've discussed about what happened to the website, how it happened, what were the allegations, etc. But as we know, there is a quick question out here, which is, but why were emails sent, etc. So, Yuvan, can I request you to throw some light on what is wrong in the EIA draft 2020? And why should people file objections to this?
Yeah. So, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Um, See, firstly, just to highlight that we are one of the movements who are objecting the present EIA. There are state governments, there are judiciaries, there are Adivasi communities, there are a whole lot of organizations, human rights activists, environmental activists who are opposing this across the country. If you look into the EIA, there are dozens of provisions which are anti-environment and anti-people here and there and everywhere. But if you look at its very where the EIA is born from, if you look at where what gives the central government power to do a draft like this, it's something called the Environment Protection Act, and specifically Section 3 of the Environment Protection Act. Now, what does that say? What power does that give the government? It says that this law gives the central government power to take all measures necessary to protect and improve the quality of the environment. So that is the power which is given. From where the EIA was born and then changed over various years. So the present EIA does not do anything to protect the environment. It in fact unprotects it, takes away existing guidelines, existing safeguards, brings in all kinds of hazardous industries which don't require public consultation. So it is in complete contravention and a kind of a wrong use of the law, which allows it power to do this. That would be the core of the issue with the present EIA, that it is against the spirit of the law which gives it power to do so.
Okay. Also, just having a quick check on the questions. So, what we've got right now is we've got a lot of positive feedback saying a lot of good stuff. And in the last few months, is the government is imposing whatever they feel like. Are they reliable anymore? And as Yuvan, as a Fridays for Future volunteer, are we fighting the government, or could you answer that?
Is the question, are we fighting the government? Is that the
Yes.
question?
Yes.
Okay. No, we are facilitating. If let's take this specific example, yeah, we are at our core value is about climate justice and climate action. The fact that human activity in the planet is leading us to a future which is uncertain and turbulent and not a very good one. We are spreading awareness about it and seeing what we can do to mitigate various uh, move things we have wrought as a species on the earth. That is where our what do you call, where our roots are. To take this specific example of EIA, we were merely facilitating something which is the right of the citizen. Two things. One is, it is the right of all of public to send their grievances to the public servant, someone we have elected, like Apar was saying. Second thing was, review was asked for. It is due legal process. In any kind of notification or change which is made, public has to participate in the decision making and its voice has to be accounted for. Now, in the whole process of putting this out, something like a EIA draft is being made, which will adversely affect the entire country. It has to be made in all the states and all the languages. That did not happen. It was made only in English, in unreadable jargon, which the actual stakeholders, the people who will be affected, can never understand. The Adivasi communities in Bihar and Odisha and Tamil Nadu cannot understand. So we unpack the whole issue for people and help them respond to it in an intelligent manner. That's what we did. There is no way, nothing about this which is anti-government. It is pro-people and pro-environment. That's what I'd like to say.
गंगोत्री, आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहोगे कि ये जो ईमेल स्टॉर्म हो रहा था, एनीथिंग यू विश टू ऐड ऑन दिस?
ये ईमेल स्टॉर्म जो हो रहा था, जितना मुझे समझ में आया कि वही एक ड्राफ्टेड ईमेल था वेबसाइट पे, और द सेंडर्स ईमेल आईडी था, और अगर किसी ने वहाँ पे क्लिक किया है वो वहाँ पे बटन में, तो उनके अपने डिवाइस पे अपना ईमेल ऐप ओपन हो जाता था, और वहाँ पे उसकी मर्जी है कि वो बयान को ड्राफ्ट मेल के बयान को कुछ भी चेंज करे अपने हिसाब से, या फिर सेंडर आईडी वहाँ पे कहाँ पे किसको सेंड करे, कोई और आईडी लगाए या फिर कोई आईडी डिलीट करे, ये उनकी मर्जी है जो सेंड कर रहे हैं। तो इस पे ये पूरा पब्लिक रेस्पॉन्स है, पूरा पब्लिक साइट है, तो यहाँ पे एफएफएफ इंडिया वेबसाइट के तरफ से कोई भी इन्वॉल्वेंस नहीं है, जहाँ तक मुझे समझ में आया।
Cool. And so before we end today, I just have one last question for our volunteers and everyone present here. Anyone's free to answer this. After getting to know the allegations that were charged on us, do you feel you wish to quit this movement? Does this give you more strength, motivation, or fear and anxiety? Would anyone like answer this question? Dinesh, would you like to go first?
Yes. So now because the site was pulled down, so we have lost a few precious week of our campaigning. See, the deadline is till August 11th, right? So we have lost that time, but I believe that we got some strength, like we got legal aid, and then more supporters poured in to support our movement. So I feel like every movement has its own challenges, and now this is one of them. And we have objectively done what we means what is our right. We're just exercising it. So I feel we are looking for a better future.
Cool. Thank you. And Nayantara, can I request you to add a few words to this as a volunteer of Fridays?
Yeah, sure. I think, you asked about stress and fear, and very honestly, when this just came out, when we just found out about this, it was, it was stressful and worrying. But once we were continuously told that, don't worry, this entire case is in good hands. We have support from different people, from different organizations and media houses and so on and so forth, with different people from to offer different skills. And now that we have sort of come out of this together, it is indeed very encouraging to have all the support, and it feels really empowering, to be honest.
Thank you. With this, we'd like to wrap up, and I just want to take another minute to thank Internet Freedom Foundation for being so helpful, for being so supportive and guiding the way all along.
Please don't thank us. Our work remains. We'll keep working for you. We'll keep learning from you. So I want to basically pay closer attention to the tactics, the movement styles, how you are really mobilizing this level of public feedback, which needs to be a template for other movements also on other very, very relevant issues. And they say the youth is the future, but I think you guys are the present right now, and there's a lot to learn. So please don't thank us. Thank you from me to you for the important work all of you are doing, and let's keep supporting each other. Let's keep talking and learning from each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all the people on the panel who attended and spoke to all the audience. And I just see one super quick question. Tell us how we can join Fridays for Future. So as you know, Fridays for Future is a youth movement. You can go to our social media pages, fridaysforfuture.india on Instagram. Click on the link tree in the bio and you will see the volunteer registration form. Fill up the details and our onboarding team will get you on board. As you rightly know, because we are a movement, you can volunteer and show your skills, utilize your skills in the place it benefits the most. So if you're a teacher, you can go around educating people. If you're good at tech, you can help with technical stuff. The artists are also welcome. And we're trying to build a family. We're trying to build trust, a community, and that's how we will have a better future. Thank you, everyone. Once again, thank you, Apar. Thank you, Yuvan, Gangotri, Nantara, Dinesh. Thank you, everyone. And stay connected to Fridays for Future. Our social media is going to be there on your